Hello my friends, my name is Tim Johnson. In this short video today I'd like to talk to you about alcohol dependence and how to recognise it, if you've got it, and how to deal with it, where to seek help, etc. The first thing I want to say is I'm not a doctor, and those of you who follow the channel will know that. I just speak from my own experiences as an alcoholic and an addict and someone who has suffered from alcohol dependence quite a few times over the years. So in the hope that my experiences will help someone out there who's watching this video, and certainly perhaps provoke them into seeking some sort of help and guidance if they recognise that they have alcohol dependence. It's much misunderstood, alcohol dependence, and I've suffered from opiate addiction, withdrawal, opiate dependence, and that's talked about a lot more. And a lot of what I say here will apply to that. Your body and mind will become dependent on opiates, there's no doubt about it. But alcohol is misunderstood because the dangers of alcohol dependence and alcohol withdrawal are not talked about enough, and sometimes people don't recognise the symptoms of alcohol dependence. The thing is, you can think to yourself, I'm not an alcoholic. I can go a couple of days without, alcohol, and then binge and drink heavily. But you could still wake up one morning and you find that you're dependent on alcohol to function. And that's a very, very scary place to be. Generally, it happens to those people who drink on a daily basis, quite heavily sometimes, but it doesn't have to be like that. You can stop for a couple of days and you may feel low-level anxiety, you may feel a bit shaky and sweaty, and that's your body telling you that you're starting to become dependent on alcohol. It's starting to need it to function, basically. And it'll progressively get worse. The thing is, with alcoholism, it's a progressive illness. It's progressive in as much as it never gets any better. It may start off at a low level over several years, many years sometimes, but it will, no doubt about it, escalate until all of a sudden you wake up one morning dependent on alcohol. Your body needs it, literally, and your mind to function, to get out of bed. That's a really scary place to be, and certainly many alcoholics that I've talked to will recognise that moment when they know that they can't function without a drink. And it's an awful, lonely, scary place to be. When you first open your eyes in the morning and the terror that overcomes you, you need to reach down and get a drink of alcohol to stop your body shaking and stop yourself vomiting into the. I'm sorry to be so graphic here, but this is what it is like. To stop yourself vomiting into the sink, to stop that awful feeling of dread, to stop your heart racing away so you think you're going to have a heart attack and die. It's the most awful and scary feeling that you will ever face. And the anxiety and the depression that comes along with that. And I will tell you now that when you are alcohol dependent, unless you drink very quickly, you cannot even get out of bed. You can't walk 100 yards because your body literally cannot function. There is no energy there to take you down the road, to get whatever you need to carry on drinking, usually, which is the case. And this is the rabbit hole you go down with that, and I'm not trying to over dramatize it. And that comes along with sweats and, you 1 minute you're shaking and shivering, and you start seeing shapes moving around. You start having, hallucinations. And this is when it goes to the extreme, when you're then going into alcohol withdrawal or delirium tremens, as they're known, DTs, which is the most dangerous part of alcohol withdrawal. You know, if you're going into DTs, you urgently, and I must stress this, urgently need to seek medical advice, because you will need drugs, certain drugs, usually diazepam or something like that, Librium diazepam, which will stop you having seizures. Because people can bleat on as much as they like about, oh, they don't know anyone that's had a seizure, but I do, and they died from it. So, and many people with serious alcohol dependence and in alcohol withdrawal that don't seek medical advice do have seizures. And that makes you extremely, very seriously ill, and you can die from it. You know, you can't stress that enough. You need to seek medical advice if you're reaching that stage. But you know, it's a terrifying moment when you realise that you need alcohol to function. And many alcoholics or heavy drinkers even are alcohol dependent. I mean, you'll know you're an alcoholic, and I've said this before in other videos. I mean, you know, this is not what this video is about, but you know you're an alcoholic when you take that drink and you can't stop, basically, you know, until there's no alcohol left, and then you just carry on. You need more and more and more till you either pass out and have a blackout and you're unconscious, or you just don't know what the hell you're doing. You're so drunk that you just go to sleep. You know, and if that goes on over a cycle, day after day after day after day, and you can't stop, you know, once you take that drink, you can't stop. You wake up and you're in more pain than you were, you know, before, and you need a drink to solve that. Then it's just a cycle, a vicious cycle. And alcohol dependence generally comes alongside that, where it's not just about that cycle of drinking, which continues, by the way. It's about the fact that if you don't drink, if your body doesn't get the alcohol it needs, you cannot function. You cannot get out of bed. You cannot move. You're in very great danger if you can't get out and get it, of going into extreme alcohol withdrawal and the dangers that surround that, as I've just mentioned. There's no hospital that will, I mean, and I've been there and I know what it's like. You know, I've been to hospital with this, and you know, there was no stigma. I knew I was in real trouble, you know, and I've not touched alcohol since that moment because it scared me so much. I knew I was in real trouble, and they knew I was in trouble. You know, I'd recognised withdrawal, but never had one so bad. You know, I was vomiting blood. My heart rate was somewhere in the region of 130, 140. and wouldn't slow down. I was in a panic mode, sweats, hallucinations, tremors. Didn't have the energy to get downstairs to the ambulance, or, you know, to wheel me down. And that's where it takes you, and it will kill you. You know, alcohol will kill you. There's no doubt about that. It is poison. But your body will, and it's not just your body as well, it's your mind, you know, the chemical imbalance that alcohol creates, just like opiates create. It takes sometimes years to heal. People wonder why, when they're in early sobriety, that it's not just magically all okay. You know, they might have that euphoria at the start, but then suddenly they have this massive dip down. Well, I'm sorry, but, you know, if you've been dependent on alcohol, you know, your body and mind are going to need time to heal. And if you're lucky enough to have stopped drinking before it's done any permanent damage to your body, count yourself blessed. Because I've met many people along the way that, you know, have serious liver damage, cirrhosis of the liver, fatty liver, acute pancreatitis is another one, you know, damage to every single organ, heart problems, blood pressure problems, all sorts of problems that come along with the drinking, the obesity and all the rest of it, you know, and the bad health that comes along with that. If you've escaped that, you need to count your blessings, because if you go back to drinking, it'll be 1,000 times worse and it will kill you. No doubt about that. But that healing time that your brain needs in particular, I mean, your body's a miracle, isn't it? You know, the biggest miracle on earth is the human body, you know, and the complications of that and the balance in there, all the human body wants to do is have homeostasis and get back into balance again. And that's what it does the moment you put down that drink or drug, you know, and it's not pleasant. So the advice I give you, those are the signs to look out for. You know, you'll know. It'll start with tremors. It'll start with uneasiness and anxiety. And you could put that down to a heavy night the night before or day-to-day issues, you know, but it's the start of alcohol dependence, and it just progresses and progresses as you go along until you'll need it, as I say, to function. And be patient when you go into sobriety. You have to give yourself the correct diet. There's many videos on this channel, and please have a look and subscribe, you know, that will help you with diet and things to do when you first get sober, and that will help your body and mind heal from alcohol dependency and abuse. So good luck with that. There's two things I always say at the end of my videos. One is memento mori, which is Stoic saying, which means be aware of your mortality, basically. The fact is that, you know, it's a privilege to be here, and it can be snatched away from you in a second. All the good things of your life and your own life could be snuffed away in a second. So live life like that, as though it's a miracle. Live life to the full, but live it in the moment. To stay sober, you need to live life in the day, not harp on about the past and have regrets or worry about the future, which will just bring you fear. You need to be in that moment and appreciate every second of it, because it's a privilege. And be kind. There's enough hate in the world at the moment. Just be kind. That's all I would say. Carpe diem. Seize the day to day. Stay sober. Stay safe. Much love to you all. Bye-bye.